Alright guys, bear with me. I got about 2 hours of sleep and this is like the third take here. So you're guys gonna get the bad hair, you're gonna get and all that. Couple things. One of the reasons why, and I want you guys to know this, why I haven't been making as many videos lately is because we're going through a rather large change right now. So Jet and I are in the last week or two of the process of closing on a house that we are buying. So we're going to be moving out of this rental and we'll be moving into a new house in Tacoma, Washington. So, and I mentioned Tacoma, Washington because if you are traveling up this way and you were hoping to roll with me, that's where you're going to have to go. Okay? Just message me on Meat Fires and we'll talk. But that being said, we get to say goodbye to the flight path. So if we film outside, you're not going to be hearing the planes anymore, which will be fabulous. The basement that we have is going to actually have some open space that is barely going to fit my mats in their full glory, so I can have like that 12 by 12 space rather than the 6 by 12 that we've been playing with. So there's going to be more room to demonstrate things without running into walls and hopefully be able to get better camera angles and all that. So good things to be looking forward to, and we get to start making that space our own for the first time in our life. So I'm really excited about that. And so, you know, once we kind of get through that move, you can probably expect me to start, what my kind of plan is going into the future a little bit is to start to go back to the very beginning and to really, really look at my curriculum and looking at what I've covered and what I plan to cover and what I hope you guys get out of these videos, and hopefully reorganizing them in a way so that you get more of a blended of like solo work with partner work, so that it's not just, you know, a huge list of playlists that are just by yourself and then a huge list of playlists that are with a partner. And so hopefully that's going to be more conducive to you guys being able to learn the techniques better, because, you know, sometimes it's helpful to see without somebody there and with somebody there, so you can kind of not have the other person obstruct your view, but also be able to see how the technique actually works with a person. So we'll be going over the full gauntlet there, and I think I'm going to actually start bringing in more gi stuff. Over this last week, I think, I don't remember if I did it on this take or on the previous take, so bear with me, I'll just say it again, is that I rolled with 2 people because I'm vaccinated, and they were vaccinated, and they were on 2 separate days, and one of them we did kind of more of a submission match, and he's somebody that actually is in this community. He is actually fairly active on our chat groups, and I'm very, very happy to be able to know him and actually get to roll with him, because I could see a little bit more of what's kind of getting through and what's not. And one of the things that came up in that particular match, that I will talk about on the next video I then make here, is going to be talking about top control pressure, and what that means. So we're going to come back to that, but the thing that kind of his comment was that when I actually did it to him, it kind of clicked a little bit more, and also feeling what it's like to have like somebody underneath you who's actually trying to roll you, who's actually trying to get out from underneath you, and kind of understanding, you know, what your body needs to do in order to maintain that position. So I think that, you know, one of the things that I would recommend to you guys is that if you are getting to the point where you are getting vaccinated, which, you know, I think nationally, if you're over 16 years old, you can get it done, so go out and do it, guys. There's, in a lot of areas, we have in Seattle a little bit of a vaccine surplus, so it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to get in and get the vaccination done. So please go ahead and do that. But once you guys are actually having the ability where you can actually start meeting up with people, the thing I want you guys to be doing, especially starting over from a top control position, is, you know, hold your partner down, and I want your partner to try to roll you. I want them to try to get you off of them, and try to get underneath you, right? So, you know, if I'm trying to escape from a side control position, I'm either going to try to roll you off of me, or I'm going to try to run away from you, or I'm going to try to scoop my knee under you and start working towards the guard, okay? If you don't know what the guard is, go ahead and look at the other playlists to go ahead and see that. But that's going to be really, really critical, and when you feel, oh, this is what it feels like, and this is what they are doing, and they just keep rolling me, Well, you're not rooted into the floor properly. If they're turning into you, you're allowing their face to turn towards you, because if they can't turn their face, they can't turn into you, right? So those are just little things that we'll cover in the next video here, but I wanted to just really kind of emphasize the importance of actually feeling what it's like when you have a partner. Because, you know, if you're working just with the dummy all the time, you might not be getting really the full experience there. And so again, we'll cover all that in more detail in a moment here. Which kind of brings me to my next point, which is that, you know, back when I was in Maine, I taught some self-defense classes. And I kind of have reached the point where I don't believe in the ethics of teaching a self-defense class. And I know that that seems backwards, especially since I have this YouTube channel and all that. But when I say teaching a self-defense class, I mean teaching like a 2 or 3 hour seminar where people come in and it's a one-time class and they leave thinking that they are now much more prepared to handle a self-defense situation. I'm just going to say right flat out now, you're not. You're probably better off having not gone to that class than actually going to that class and thinking that you're actually going to be able to do anything whatsoever. And so here's the reason why I say that, okay? If you say, you know, self-defense is this very complicated subject, and you're responding to whatever the other person is giving you, right? And you're responding in a way while under extreme duress, all right? If somebody has a knife at you, or they're coming up swinging at you, or they're trying to grab you, or they've got a gun or whatever, if that 3 hour class is not going to be the first thing that pops into your mind. You're probably going to be going, oh shit, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, right? You're not going to be thinking, how do I get out of this situation? And this actually kind of came up last night while I was working with a white belt at my school, and he was just practicing doing some shoulder rolls on the wall, and he got 75% good rep in doing that drill, and then he called it a day and left. Well, that's not going to do jack shit for you. You know, he was just getting to the point where he was just barely able to do the technique. And even if he had done it perfectly 5 times, it's not going to be there for him when he rolls. Okay? So, and I've said this a lot of times to you guys on this channel, that, you know, when you go into a match, when you are sparring and you are drilling for the purpose of learning, it's really beneficial to go into that match to say, okay, I'm going to get to the side control, and I'm going to disconnect my opponent's arm from their body, and I'm going to go for the Americana. And that's my one and only goal for this round, okay? And when I say round, I might even say the day, right? You're going to be doing, you know, maybe 5-10 rounds in half an hour to, even if you're going for like 2 hours. I would recommend that for that period of time, your one objective is to get that Americana, right? And then the next day, maybe you go for the Kimura, or you go for the different follow-ups, and you try to troubleshoot what's stopping you from be able to get to that position and be able to get that attack. And so that in the future when you're rolling, there's not going to be a question of, is there an Americana from side control? Yes, there really is. We know this because we've actually gotten that in that high-stress situation. And that's what sparring is. It's putting you in the high-stress situation that you need to be in order to really program what you're trying to learn into your brain, right? So you want to train with that high intensity situation in mind, right? While trying to go for a single objective, because what you're going to find is when you start rolling and you've been watching all these videos, you may have watched every video I've heard, you may have taken notes on every single thing that I've said, and you might objectively understand every last detail that I've given you. But at the end of the day, if that's all you have and you haven't had to access that information under duress, then it's not there. then it does you absolutely no good. And that's why I don't believe in this idea of even YouTube training to a certain extent, because you have to actually go through the motions with a willing partner, right? Without any resistance. Well, maybe just like a touch of resistance, just so you feel like you're actually working with a person, not a dummy. And then you've got to escalate that a little bit with a little bit more resistance, start thinking about counters and all that. And then you've got to apply that to live rolling. And until you start doing that, you're not going to see major improvements. Okay? So you have to be able to feel what it's like when the technique goes wrong. You have to feel what it's like when there is some resistance before you apply major resistance, and then you have to actually say, this is what I'm going to go for while under duress. So I know that's a bit repetitive, but I really feel like at this point I'm still not quite getting that through to people. I really, really want to see you guys be successful. So I'm going to get off my soapbox for that for right now, and then let's go ahead. We're going to come back here in a second to talk about side control pressure. All right? So I'm getting off the soapbox. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next time.